This conference will now be recorded.
All right, good day, everyone. I am Steve Szyminski on behalf of Wealth Foundations Northwest. I'd like to welcome you all to the weekly pepper, getting you ready for the week of June 1st, 2026. Happy to be here with all of you. Just a quick reminder that your trades are yours, not ours. We don't act as advisors in any way, shape, or form. Trading does, in fact, involve risk. Reach out to us, and happy to have you all. Anyone who wants to find out more about us, you can come here. Or if you have any questions about any trades or anything, any suggestions, any trade ideas, or anything else you want to know, go ahead and reach out to me at help@wealthfoundationsnw.com. Happy to hear from all of you. All right, so our seasonality is for a midterm election year. Looks like June will not be a particularly great month. And so it looks like after this late month run up in May that was almost kind of expected or anticipated by this chart. It's showing that June is probably though going to be the worst month of the year. Maybe September pretty bad, or June probably the second or first worst month of the year going forward, according to the seasonality chart. So that's kind of interesting. So we'll see how it plays out. But I would say be careful because not all of these just because something shows up on a seasonal historical chart doesn't mean it's going to happen for sure by any means. Okay, so last week, no deal yet on Iran, and there's talk, there's deal on the table, there's some things going on. I don't know when that's going to get consummated, if ever. Bull market breaks to all-time new highs, and so that just continues, and no signs of it letting up at the moment. A lot of people think it will, but it hasn't happened yet. Watch for that rotation into software, though. AI still remains strong. There may be a little bit of profit taking in the software area, and maybe some of that will make its way into other tech that is more software oriented. Oil prices well off of their highs, so coming down significantly. Oil was down 6.39% this past week alone. And so economic reports are good enough. There is no recession, folks. We have positive GDP growth. Our jobless claims numbers are reasonable, and there's just not enough inflation concern to spook the market. And so inflation numbers came in more or less as expected, if not slightly better. And so there's just not a lot of catalyst for panic economically at the moment. So the SPY was up 0.91% for the week. The Qs and the rest, so everything was up, just not super up. Okay, but just and gold has sort of stabilized a little bit. It had been dropping, but it's starting to stabilize somewhat. Bitcoin tried to get some footing and then gave a lot back this week for some reason, 3.59%. The interesting thing about Bitcoin, we'll have to keep an eye on that because of some news in the Middle East here I'm going to tell you about in a minute. But as far as sectors go, tech remaining strong, energy and defensive sectors are the weakest. I may have a consumer staples play for us, but look at technology, far and away the best on a one-day basis. Financials bounced back a little bit on Friday, but it had been kind of soft for the last week or so, just kind of middling, if you will. If we look at the weekly heat map, Nvidia got a little bit of a smackdown, but most everything else is, and so did Intel, by the way. Most everything else hanging in there. You notice that Microsoft, Oracle, Palantir, a lot of these, PanW, a lot of these software companies really rebounding hard. And some of them have been beaten down quite a bit, like Adobe, for example, up 6.19%. So don't sleep on those. Meta had a nice little breakout as well, and it has definitely some upside potential. Some of the big banks here, Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs, remain pretty strong, but not all of them. Okay, like for example, Schwab dropped off quite a bit. Tesla roaring back after getting, just being on a roller coaster, really, but mostly failing up and getting close to some all-time overhead supply. Markets are extended, but tech still drives the car one way or the other, whether it's semiconductor or software, something tech-wise is going to drive the car. About 35% of the S&P 500 is now made up of tech, so it is capable of dragging the indexes higher. even if there's a lot of stocks out there that aren't doing that. So we're keeping an eye on our seasonality, seeing how that plays out. Anytime you change over to a new month, there could be a change in tone. So we're going to watch for that. Kind of be aware of the pace, the sector rotation. Key levels are the signposts. Okay, so if you start forming lower lows, lower highs, just breaking key levels, then that may be cause for a little bit of a pullback here. So the U.S. seized $1 billion in Iranian crypto. And how is that going to affect the overall value of Bitcoin? My guess, this is just a kind of a guess, and that's not enough really to make that big a difference. But my guess is, if anything, that would probably be a net positive, because I think the U.S. holding that crypto, seizing it and holding it, would be, I think it takes that out of play more so than the Iranians holding it, because Iranians are getting very desperate for cash right now. And I think that would have been more likely sold off into the marketplace versus the US seizing it, really taking it out of circulation. So um, are we setting ourselves up for a sell on the news? I got to ask myself that, because if an Iranian deal comes out and is signed and agreed upon, and everyone is happy and loves one another, has that already been priced in? Has that pending agreement already been priced in? And so sometimes when things run up ahead of the news, and then the news comes out and everyone knows about it, sometimes there can be a little bit of disappointment, a little bit of air come out of the balloon. So be cautious about a sell. Don't assume that if a deal gets sold or gets done, that the market will continue to rally on that positive news. I think it's already priced in. The volatility is freakishly low, back near 15 or so on the VIX, and I'm thinking it might be a good time to stay long the VIX or get long the VIX. Maybe start building a position. Even though it can stay low pretty long, you might want to start building a position for the summer months, I would think. Okay, going ahead, the week ahead it looks pretty quiet. I mean, ISM, jobless claims, the usual stuff. So there's really nothing big. Maybe on Friday, if no one expects the unemployment rate to change very much. The earnings, not very interesting except for Avgo. I think Avgo is probably the most, Broadcom is the most interesting of the earnings reports, but you can see that a lot of the big boys have already reported, and the earnings season is really starting to wind down quite a bit. So expect the tech sector and the consumer discretionary to stay strong, and expect utilities to be weak and pretty moderate across the rest of the board. So I'm not expecting a whole lot of anything this coming week. So that's all I've got for these slides. And let's go ahead and just overall market commentary. Just look at the SPY to see how it looks. Yep, breaking the new highs, all right. And the on-balance volume continuing to rise. Higher highs, higher lows on the on-balance volume above the key major moving averages. The Qs maybe a tad more overextended than the SPY, but you just be cautious here with a little bit of a doji candle. This rising wedge pattern is not the most bullish of patterns, because it's sort of climbing a wall of worry. So when that piece of pizza slice is kind of pointing up here at about 2 o'clock, that's not necessarily the most bullish thing in the world. I actually think it'd be healthy if we sort of chop sideways for a little while, but I'm not sure how that's going to end itself. And so that's what the Russell is doing. So Russell broke out, it's holding its gains, but not much else. And so the volume kind of moderate here, and so everything pretty much holding up reasonably well. Here's gold. Gold has been soft, but a little bit of a bounce here. But look, it just ran into its 20 SMA and then backed off a little bit. So then you got the 50 SMA just above that. You got the potential for a gap fill, but if it does, then what, right? So I guess one of the better things is that I've seen is the fact that this on-balance volume is starting to tick up again. And so I think breaking definitely some overhead resistance here. And if anything, this sort of looks like a descending triangle to me. Okay. So I'm not sold on gold, if you will. I'm not sold on gold because this sort of descending triangle pattern is not bullish, folks. That is not a bullish pattern. And so we could be squeezed into a corner here and then have it even break down a little bit. So I'm staying away from gold until I am sold. All right. And things like bond yields are concerning. This looks like a pretty classic, this is a really good zone right here. This is a selling zone. So we got looks like we've got a rally and then a drop and then a base and a big drop off here. So somewhere around here, I'm thinking I think this may be ripe for a sell off here. This, this right here, I think is a selling zone and looks like we tested it already, right? Looks like we tested it already and nope, not quite. Haven't quite tested it yet, but it did test the 50 SMA and backed off. Broke just look above and fail on the 50 SMA, but the unbalanced volume is really going nowhere but straight up. So I don't know, definitely a mixed bag on the TLT. I'm not sure I'm ready to commit to this yet, but it is definitely coming into a little overhead resistance after going up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days in a row. Yeah, the Bulls might be getting a little tired on the TLT. I think that could back off here a little bit in the near future. I really do. I think that's where we're heading. Quick look at our model portfolio, and it has been a model portfolio. We've added some trades back in, and looks like so these trades are fairly new from last week, but Booking.com is so it looks like it was a boing boing. Let me just look at how this is doing. I don't think it's going our way just yet. BKNG Booking. And yeah, well, good news, bad news. It went a couple days against us, but then kissed the 50 SMA and backed off. So I think this play is still looking just fine to me. Got half a mind to double down as it goes back down. The 2-day RSI goes back down below 70. I might consider doubling down on something like that. eBay. eBay is another one where looking for a rally here on a boing boing. Didn't trade it big, no big deal. We have time, but let me see if there's potential there for nope. It's looked like it was going to bounce off the 20 SMA and then had a bad day on Friday, but this is another buy zone right here, and so it just touched that and held. This is one where I might want to double down on this one. I think that this has got the potential to still bounce, and I might add to this trade if anything. The Knights who say knee. Okay, we got a put option on knee NextEra Energy, and so I think being short the energy sector feels like the right thing to do. And yes, it has broken the Dodson channel. This looks promising, and I think there's a good chance that continues to drop off. So that is doing just fine. In fact, so we got two profitable, two not so profitable. Our Tesla bull call spread looks like it's just fine as well. TSLA continues to mostly go up. It took a little bit soft on Friday as it came into this pretty strong selling zone. It touched it, couldn't quite break above it. It's kind of hanging around. And I think if we can get kind of a little cup and handle or some high basing, I think it's only a matter of time before it breaks that. And if it does, folks, watch out because you don't have a lot to stop it here. You even have a gap here. And so there's not a lot to keep this from going maybe as high as the 480s. So I'm still feeling bullish on Tesla. And so far that's a winning trade. So 2 winners, 2 losers so far. But I think none of them look broken. In fact, I might, if anything, add to a couple of these trades. Just to me. Okay, something new. How about something bearish, just to be different? Let's go with PEP. Fresh channel breakout. It is getting into a zone here, but there's so much downward momentum that I'm not too concerned about that drop base rally, and it's currently in the zone, and so I'm kind of the mindset of let's do one of those. Don't ask me to do too much type of trades. Maybe a 145, 140 kind of a trade, maybe. 140 might be even a little too aggressive. Um, yeah, 140 takes us down here. I think that might actually be too aggressive. Maybe a 140, 140, 250 might be better. Or I mean a 145, 140. Let me look at this and see what this would cost. I think it's got enough momentum to carry it. If not breaking that level, certainly enough to keep it around that level for a while. I think it could easily break that level. Maybe do the 140. Let me look at the cost of this thing here. So maybe I'll start it out small, and then as we get closer, let's go June 18 is what I'm thinking. If we buy the 145 and sell the, I don't know, 142, that doesn't look too bad either. So let me do that. 145, 142, control, snap. Yeah, that's all. That's not asking it to do too much, and I think that feels about right. And then I think I would add to that if it breaks that key level. So I'm going to start this out small for about, let's go $300, and I'm going to double that position if we break below that recent low. So let's put that on at the midpoint, review, and submit. And we'll wait for that to get filled on Monday. All right. And how about something, looking at it, a couple of bullish plays. AMT kind of looks interesting. Okay, let's look at AMT. And this is kind of on a breakout and kind of a bottom feeder, sort of breaking out of a range. And I would at least expect that to be a really solid bull call spread, maybe something like a 180, 190 bull call. Yeah, I like that. I like that. I'll do that all day long. So let's go to trade AMT, and let's do 180, 190 bull call. So buy the 180, and sell the 190. So one bullish, one bearish. Okay, and let's put that on just one contract. Looks good to me. Confirm and send and send. I've also been eyeballing United Healthcare. United Healthcare. Let's look at that chart real quick. UNH. It's not my favorite sector, but this has been kind of a nice pullback here. It's almost a boing boing. So close to a boing boing, I might just go ahead and call it a boing boing. 2 day, it looks like it's right at 70. Am I reading that right? It's right on the 70 line, or no, I'm sorry, it's at 32. It's at 32. So no, it's not technically a boing boing, but I think I kind of like this as a little bull call spread. I think I'm willing to put this on as a bull call spread. It's kind of a gentle, kind of pulled in here right to the 50 SMA. It's it needed to take that breather, but I think it's going to hold that breakout level, and I think it's going to bounce here. Let's do something in healthcare. We haven't done anything in healthcare in a long time, and I think it's time. So again, simple. Let's not overthink it, but I'm going to do something like I think I'm looking at 380, 400, 380, 400. I think. Fine. So let's put that on. Maybe you know what? I think I might do that as a butterfly. Let's do that as a butterfly just to be different. Not just to be different, but I think it'd be a little bit more of a moderate trade. So I'm going to buy the 380. Buy the 380 call. All right, buy the 380 call. And then I'm going to sell the 400 call twice. Okay, so control 1, 2. And then I'm going to buy the 420 for protection, nice and cheap. Buy that once, control 1. And that's looking like about, yeah, that's like only a $400 trade. I like it. So let's go ahead and put that on. So 3 new trades, 2 bullish, 1 bearish, and in sectors that we're not, where we don't have a lot of exposure. So I think we'll let that go and see how those fill out. On behalf of Wealth Foundations Northwest, been my pleasure to have been your coach today. Good luck at trading, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.